Okay, we're looking at the solutions for lesson 12, factoring simple trinomials. So we need to find a pair of integers with each product and each sum. So we need to find something that adds up to 9 and multiplies to 20. It's always easier to start with this. What multiplies to 20? So we know 2 and 10 multiply to 20, but they don't add up to 9. 4 and 5, well, those do. So positive 4, positive 5. Awesome. 18. So what multiplies to 18? 1 and 18, 2 and 9. 2 and 9 look good. They add up to 11. So 2 and 9. Okay, so now you see that our sum is negative. We're definitely going to have a negative number involved here. So what adds up, or sorry, what multiplies to 12? So we know 1 and 12, 2 and 6, but there's not really a way to get to 7 there. 3 and 4, well, there definitely is a way to get to 7 there. How do we get to negative 7? Well, if we make it negative 3 and negative 4, those two things will add up to negative 7, and when you multiply them, two negatives will make a positive. So that's what we're looking at there. For the next one, the product is negative 14. So we have 2 and 7. That looks like they're going to be good. So we have 2 and 7, but we need the sum to be negative 5. So which number should I make negative? Definitely the bigger one, so the answer ends up negative. Okay, number 2, factory trinomial. So our first one, we have x squared plus 12x plus 36. So x squared plus 12x plus 36. So we got to find numbers that add up to 12 and multiply to 36. So what multiplies to 36? Well, 6 and 6 multiply to 36, and 6 plus 6 add up to 12. So that looks good. So all we do, x plus 6, x plus 6. We found our magic numbers. Let's go to B. So here we have x squared minus 12x plus 27. So we got to find two numbers that multiply to 27 and add up to negative 12. Okay, so what multiplies to 27? Well, definitely 9 and 3, but those don't add up to negative 12. They add up to positive 12. How do we fix that? Make them both negative, and you're good. So we have x minus 9, x minus 3. Okay. Next we're on to C, and C is x squared plus 7x minus 30. So two numbers that will multiply to this and add to this. So what multiplies to negative 30? Well, definitely 10 and 3, and those look like a good fit for our 7 as well. But we need the answer to be positive. So that means we need to use x plus 10 and x minus 3. And that works really well. And we can always go and check. So let's do a FOIL here and check. So x times x is x squared plus outside, which is minus 3x, plus inside, which is plus 10x, minus 30. And as we reduce this, we get x squared plus 7x minus 30. Is that what we started with? Sure is. We're in good shape. Okay, and the next one, we need to find two numbers that add up to negative 16 and multiply to negative 36. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Well, 6 and 6, not going to work, but what about 18 and 2? Well, that looks good. 18 and 2, but we need this to be negative 16, so we've got to make our bigger number negative. So that's it. So we have x minus 18, and the other key number is x minus 2. Perfect. Okay, for our next one, x squared plus 4x plus 4. So we got to find two numbers that add up to 4 and multiply to 4. Oh, I'm already giving the answer away. 2 and 2, of course. So we would have x plus 2 and x plus 2. Okay, so you should have the idea of definitely how to do this by now. So I'm going to start just giving you some answers as I do them in my head. So this one would be x minus 5, x plus 1. So we have two numbers that multiply to 22. That would be 11 and 2. So we'd have x plus 11 and x minus 2. We would have x minus 4, x minus 5. Okay. And this one would be x plus 1 and x plus 1. This is a lot of that. The tricky part here is finding out which numbers are going to be your magic numbers. Once you do a couple, you get a lot faster and you start to realize some patterns. But that's what this comes down to. Okay? 6. So we're going to factor each trinomial from question 5. No problem, we can do that. So I'll do that again for you. It's going to be x plus 10. It's going to be x plus 2, x plus 3, x plus 2, x plus 7, x plus 2. Okay, perfect. This one, rectangle is an area. Factor the trinomial, no problem, we can do that. So we're going to have area equals, and what are we going to end up with? Well, we're going to end up with 5 and 3. Perfect. So we wrote that in factored form, and now it says use that, calculate what the actual dimensions are if x was equal to 4. So we can just plug that in. So area is going to equal 4 plus 5 and 4 plus 3. And when we do that, we get 9 times 7, which is 63 centimeters squared. 9. Leanne says the factors of the trinomial x squared minus 10x minus 24 are x minus 6, x minus 4. Let's see, is she correct? Well, the easiest way to check is let's do FOIL on what she came up with. So we first outside minus 4x, inside minus 6x, outside plus 24. So we end up with x squared minus 10x plus 24. Is that what we have here? Oh no, minus 24. So we got to figure out, okay, well, what should we have done here instead? The correct thing is what two numbers add up to negative 10 and multiply to negative 24. And you're thinking, okay, well, we'll multiply this to negative 24. And this one actually is a little bit of a tricky one because you're going to have to use 12 and 2. We just tried 4 and 6. Those did not work. So we have to use 12 and 2. And one of those has to be negative. Which one? Well, we're definitely going to want negative 12. So what it should have been is x minus 12 and x plus 2. Okay, when you run into things like this that do not have an x squared with nothing in front of it, so this has a 3 in front of it, what we need to do, I will not give you anything that will not be perfectly divisible by all the other terms. What I mean by that is, take a look, that 3 goes into everything. So what you can actually do when you're factoring, you're always setting everything equal to 0. That's what factoring is all about. It's about figuring out what your roots are. So what we can do is we can actually divide this entire side by 3 as long as we divide this side by 3. And that's no problem because we have a 0 on the other side. So what that actually ends up doing is we can cross that 3 out. This is going to reduce down to 7. This is going to be divided by 3. That's going to be 10. So what our new equation is, x squared plus 7x plus 10, and we can solve that. So what are our factors going to be here? What multiplies to that? We have x plus 5 and x plus 2. And that's how that works.